This is maybe the dumbest story in anime. Not Digimon the movie, although that's pretty dumb, but rather the story of why Digimon the movie. Digimon the movie was one of my favorite movies as a kid, but I'd be lying if I said the plot is anything but a mess. And that makes a lot of sense when you realize that it was never actually a movie in Japan. Instead, it's a re-edited mashup of 3 Japanese movies to be more American by... can you guess who?
I'm going to a birthday party. I got my friend a pink Power Ranger.
You just couldn't fucking resist, could you? So you're probably wondering how exactly this happened, but the actual answer is, no matter how dumb you're expecting it to be, even dumber. First, the obvious question, why? Would this not take more effort than just translating them, like they did with, you know, the anime? But if you actually go and watch the first movie, it becomes immediately pretty obvious why they didn't, because the word movie is a very generous description. It's closer to a 20-minute teaser for the Digimon television series, which first aired in Japan immediately after. So your next question is probably somewhere along the lines of, wait, they made a 20-minute ad and sold it in theaters. What the fuck? How? Simple, they showed it with 2 other longer movies, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Dr. Slump. If you've ever seen Digimon the movie in theaters or on VHS, you'll probably remember that there was an infuriatingly bad Angela Anaconda short leading into it. That's right. Digimon was literally the Angela Anaconda of Digimon. That's hilarious. Or you could call this the paid demo disc of movies. I'm not actually sure which one's worse. So, why didn't this come to the West? Well, you might have heard of this Yu-Gi-Oh thing before. Screw the rules and suck my dick. But I guarantee you've never in your life heard of Dr. Slump, much less the fucking 10th film in the series. So it's not really a surprise they took this and were like, what if, and hear me out, not this. So this all begs the question, is Digimon Adventure good? Or at least better than the English? And it's like more or less the same as the first part of Digimon the movie, but the important thing to know is that this was made to be a prequel to the anime series, whereas in English it's somewhat of a sequel. The main difference is that it's way quieter and more melancholy. It's this surreal short film about a monster that comes into these 2 kids' lives one night, fights this other huge monster, and then disappears without a trace. I guess it's more artsy and more serious and more mature, but this is, you know, fucking Digimon. It doesn't do anything with this maturity, it's just kind of there. It feels like it's trying to say something, but all it's really saying is, here's cool monsters fighting, you should probably go buy these toys. And that's fine, obviously, maybe even slightly better, but if I were a kid, and I do have the experience, I'd know what one I'd prefer, and it's the one with the jokes and the cool upbeat music. There's not really a lot to say about it. It's more or less the same experience, just with some commentary of alcoholism among Japanese salarymen as Tai and Kari run out into the street with their Digimon as their dad comes home drunk in the middle of the night. Yes, if you know anything about Japan, it's that you can buy 40-liter kegs of whiskey at Don Quixote. I don't know who drinks these, but clearly someone does. So, this brings us to film 2, our war game. It's the same deal with this one. 40-minute short film, not nearly long enough to release on its own. Now, this one was only bundled with One Piece, so they probably could have sold this in the West, but I'm not sure how well this would do. Again, to me, an English speaker, the demo disc of movies doesn't sound very appealing. Our war game is basically the same story we're all familiar with, but with one key difference. It's fucking boring. If you haven't seen it, basically there's a Digimon internet virus taking over the internet, and by proxy the world, and the destined, have to stop it by getting on the internet and fighting with their Digimon. Eventually, it ends with the virus launching a missile and Tai and Izzy, with the power of love and friendship from kids all over the world, barely stopping it before it crashes and kills them all. The best way I can describe to you how boring this is to explain how Digimon the movie went and changed it, because it basically ghost stories the shit out of this movie.
Your total comes to 1,100,000. Huh? Yeah, that's what it says. That must be really good chocolate. Paper or plastic?
In Digimon the movie, there's this whole B-plot about Tai's mom making horrible food, and Izzy happily gulps down whatever garbage she gives him. Tai keeps telling him to stop going.
Hey, can I have yours?
Izzy, you're the bravest kid I've ever known.
But Izzy doesn't listen, and this results in him running to the bathroom at the critical moment, and they lose the fight with the internet virus. In Japanese, Okay, brace yourself. Ready? Okay. In Japanese, Izzy runs to the bathroom because he drank too much oolong tea. What the fuck? In English, this is the natural consequence of a series of bad decisions based around comedic development between the two leads.
So do I have enough of this stuff?
Beats me. It's the first time I've used flour to bake a cake.
This is funny, but it's not just funny. It's something that builds and builds and builds tension that comes crashing down in the critical moment. In Japanese, they fail because he drank too much tea and had to go pee. You see how this is different? This is, to put it lightly, fucking contrived and bad. It's maybe the single literal dumbest thing they could have possibly written in. This actually makes me wonder why this bit was even there in the first place, because this only makes sense in English, almost like it was written in English and translated into Japanese poorly. In Japanese, Tai's mom just makes a cake. That's it. She's just there. She adds literally nothing to the plot. Same with Joe, who in English is panicking about voluntary summer school classes because he's a fucking nut.
Can I speak to Joe, please? A test? He's the only kid I know who volunteers for summer school.
In Japanese, he's taking entrance exams. There's no tension. He's literally just taking exams. And then there's the timer they put on, counting down to when the missile hits. Now, I generally don't like timers as a plot device because they're really shallow, as in like, oh, it stopped with only 1 second to go. Wild, who saw this coming? But in English, it actually kind of works because the pacing is just go, 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 and his mom's horrible cooking, and the bit with Joe bring down the intellectual level of the movie and make it okay with just being silly.
More juice, Izzy? I just squeezed some onions.
In Japanese, I've never seen a timer with less suspense than this. It tries to ram in the, I want to call them B-plots, but they're just extra characters shoehorned into the fucking movie. They're so lifeless and inconsequential that all they do is drag on an already emotionless sequence of events. Joe is taking entrance exams. That's it. Tai's mom is baking a cake. That's literally it. Neither of these things have any kind of weight or consequence behind them at all. They're just there. In English, the entire story is woven around this bit about Tai's mom being shit at cooking, culminating in our horrible abomination of a cake.
Connection terminated.
What next?
Kids, cake's almost ready.
So when this gets woven into the timer, it not only legitimately adds tension to this tension is cut at the end when all of the electronics go haywire and the oven gets fried and burns her horrible cake, saving them from a second disaster.
Oh, lousy microwave. How come every electronic appliance has to have a bug in it?
It builds a bigger high and then properly relieves it at the end.
Wait till we try the cake.
No, this isn't a masterpiece, but it's fun and lively, and so the timer actually works. In Japanese, it's just that. It's a timer. It's a guy writing tests. It's a mom baking a cake. It's so goddamn boring. The only thing this movie has going for it is the Digimon fights, and it even fucks that up. They're fighting inside the internet, and this anime's idea of the internet is a white void with nothing inside it. What the fuck? And not only that, every fight is just so quiet. In English, it knows that this is what makes Digimon cool, so it plays all this hype music and makes it awesome. But in Japanese, it's just so limp and unemotional. While this kind of works for a very contained, surreal 20-minute short, in here they had enough runtime to run an actual plot, and it just falls apart. Everything about this movie is so lifeless. There's no tension, no jokes, no color, not even any sound. It's an aggressively mundane plot, held together with silent fight scenes in an empty void. How does this have such a high rating on MAL? I'm assuming that the only people who would ever give a shit about this movie are Digimon fans who wanted to see the original and were surprised to see something serious and mature rather than goofy and lighthearted like they remember. Here's a message to all of those people. Serious does not mean meaningful or emotional. While I wouldn't necessarily call Digimon the movie anything resembling good, it succeeded because it knew exactly what kind of movie it was. It understood that Digimon are fucking cool, and it took that and made an entertaining movie out of it. Our wargame doesn't even have that going for it. The only possible merit it might have is cool fights, but it can't even do that right. I can't call this anything other than bad. It doesn't know what kind of story it is, and it fails at everything it sets out to do. I'd even go ahead and call this one of the worst anime I've ever seen, except unfortunately for Digimon, I've also seen Part 3, which might literally be the single worst fucking movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Surprising? It shouldn't be if you've so much glanced at the title. Digimon Adventure 02, Digimon Hurricane Landing, Transcendent Evolution, The Golden Digimentals. I don't know about you, but I'm in the camp that believes that words should mean things. Why stop there? Why not make it something really special? Call it Digimon Adventure 02, Digimon Hurricane Landing, Transcendent Evolution, The Golden Digimentals, Mega Pineapple Super, 6969 The Extreme the Second. I don't know. Certainly doesn't make any less sense. I know this is 20 years later, but someone needs to get fired for this. So, for this movie, imagine everything that's wrong with our wargame, but if they also somehow managed to make it worse in literally every single way. And there's no better way I can show you just how fucking bad this is, but to just show you a clip from the movie. So, I rounded up my friend Pat from Wires Don't Talk and got him to compare clips from both English and Japanese from each of the 3 movies because I thought it'd be funny to torture someone else with this fucking shit. So you have a music degree.
I do have a music degree.
And it would be fair to call you a fan of Digimon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, alright, and that's all we really need to know.
Oh, man. This is so fun.
Yeah, it's kick-ass, right? It's like, see, the thing about like Digimon the movie, I feel like it like gets that Digimon are like, you know, it's supposed to be cool, right?
Literally, that's what it is. It's supposed to be like badass and cool and fun. And I mean, they did it, in my opinion. Do they not say Omegamon?
No, they didn't.
Wow, they don't even say it's Omegamon, because I know it's Omegamon in Japan. And he doesn't say Transcendent Sword. Oh, wow. Oh, that see, I didn't get excited. I wasn't excited. Like, yeah, let's do something. Oh.
Yeah, I'll show you the third one, and then you can give me your thoughts on this one. I'm kind of excited to see what your thoughts on this are.
Really menacing xylophone.
How do you like the elevator music?
Yeah, this is it's so strange. Like, it's not exciting. Again, like, it's just not exciting. But this isn't even like, like very emotional like the Omegamon thing. This is just like weird. Why is the jazz bass coming in? I don't like that. I don't like that. Part of the music, I don't like that. Like, it's not... The visuals on screen don't match the music.
All right, what do you think of that?
Dude, I seriously think I'm anxious. Like, I definitely can't sit still right now. I hate that, dude. I hate that. That was so bad. That was stupid. What, like... Oh, it's the Japanese version, so I can't be like, they ruined it. Like... That was so dumb. I'm mad. I'm like mad. They didn't say any of the Digimon still.
It's like
that wasn't fun.
Yeah, it's like this elevator music. It's just like that's every fucking fight scene in this movie. It's this weird elevator.
It ramps up too, like because it's like kind of generic elevator music, but it ramps up.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot from jazz because it's sporadic and it's chromatic at times, so it's not resolving. It's not going back. The speed is there. So I get that they're trying to match, like, the speed of, like, this battle's intense. You know, we got to focus. And I'm assuming they're using those more like tense notes to be like, are they gonna save the day? But it does not work to me. The fact that that was the music, oh, I'm very upset about it. If you haven't figured it out, I'm not happy with what I just saw. That scene should just be like high energy, high action, not like, hey, are you having a mental breakdown? Because this is the music that's the soundtrack to that.
So imagine that, but like if this was the entire movie. By the way, Pat does reaction with technical analysis of the music and games and shit. If you liked what he had to say about the soundtrack, that's kind of his thing, so you should check him out. I did a video with him on Steins Gate, link to his channel in the description, along with the full Digimon Adventure watch party. So anyway, this movie is just clumsy. It tries to be surreal and trippy as if it's deep, but it's just fucking not. It's Digimon. It's exactly as deep as the English, only it has this fucking elevator music plastered throughout the movie in every fight scene. This isn't deep or artsy, it's just weird and out of place. It's like, bro, you have monsters that transform into bigger monsters with a Game Boy, and you somehow fuck that up. What's wrong with you? It's like it's deliberately trying to be as uncool as possible. The tone is just so off. Now, here's the part where the English differs. It's shorter. Part 3 is by far the worst part of Digimon the movie because this movie is objectively one of the worst movies ever made in the history of movies. In English, they took it and cut out almost all of it. If you're wondering why this scene looks like...
What's the matter with you? That's the saddest story I ever heard. I'm the one with the problem, not you. Get over it. Okay.
It's because literally the only way to salvage this movie in any meaningful way was to abridge it. So yes, Digimon the movie was arguably the first abridged series. Hilarious. Apparently the producers wanted to do a full 2-hour movie but didn't have the budget. But did they? Did anyone really want that? Let's hope they didn't. Again, remember, the part we watched earlier, that was the fight scene. That's supposed to be the exciting part of the film.
俺もいるだぎゃみんなかっこいいわでもディグモンの出方苦労の割には地味ですよ
How is this anime so lacking in self-awareness? All the fight scenes are just so quiet. They're not just lacking in music, they're lacking in any kind of excitement or emotional depth. Not even the sound effects carry any real weight because they're all completely drowned out by the blaring elevator music. It's like whoever wrote this had no idea what the fuck Digimon is, and no one ever bothered to tell him that Digimon is supposed to be cool. Every scene of this movie is just so stiff and emotionless. It's over an hour long but feels like 3. Yes, somehow this is the movie that got enough budget to be a full-length film. Almost. There was a magical girl Do-Re-Mi short rammed into the middle of the movie. Yes, the middle of the movie, as if it's supposed to be this huge story that's so epic it needs an intermission in the middle of it. Ah yes, the producers thought they were doing fucking Ben-Hur when they were making the barely hour-long short film. Digimon Adventure 02, Digimon Hurricane Landing, Transcendent Evolution, The Golden Digimentals, Mega Pineapple Super 6969, the second the Extreme, the first. Which is why there's, I want to say 2 titles, but, Hey look, now that we know the full context, the title is magically not stupid. But, no, Ben-Hur, this ain't. It's just one terrible short movie, dressed up as 2 terrible short movies. Hilarious. I'd talk about the plot of part 3 more, but honestly, it's bad and doesn't make sense in either English or Japanese. It's just random American kids Digimon is like corrupted and bad and stuff and wants to go back to when they were little, and everything around it is just a convoluted mess. I'll save you the trouble of hurting your brain with everything that is, and this is being generous with my words, happening? So, Digimon the movie is bad because its source material was bad. Part 1 was okay, but part 2 was so boring it should win some kind of award, and part 3 was just bad and terrible, and also bad in every single way. So where does that leave us? Well, after suffering through all of the original Digimon Adventure movies, I've come to this weird conclusion that I don't really know how to deal with. Digimon the movie is a fucking masterpiece. Not as in like, it's actually a good movie, but as in it managed to take this steaming pile of shit that is the Digimon Adventure movies and make them actually kind of entertaining. That is a Sisyphean task, bro. Holy shit. I mean, it even did All-Star a full-ass year before Shrek came out. Think about that. Just think about that for a second. Digimon the movie is a fucking masterpiece. Did I lie? Is that not the dumbest thing you've ever heard? Wow. Before we wrap this up, I should talk about the one other consequence of the Digimon Adventure movies, and that's Summer Wars, which is basically the same story, but not Digimon, and a full movie, as if this is the story the director really wanted to make, and if he had the budget for a full-length film. And this seems to be a big part of the reason people like our war game, because it's the precursor to this actual movie they kind of like. But in order to make this video, I went and watched Summer Wars, and it has the exact same problem as our war game, by which I mean it's also shit. Like, the story hinges on a mid-90s understanding of the internet, only it takes place in 2009. This was Charming, an actual 90s cartoon Digimon.
Sorry we're late.
I was surfing in that and I wiped out!
Come to think of it, also 90s cartoon Pokemon, not that you would have seen that episode. It is not in any movie that deliberately uses up-to-date technology. Imagine a bad 90s movie, but with absolutely none of the charm of bad 90s movies, and you have Summer Wars. I can't believe I'm saying this, but if you feel like watching Summer Wars, you should just go and watch Digimon the movie instead, because it's at least entertainingly bad. So the one last unanswered question here is, why would I do this to myself? Why would I not only sit through, but write a 20-minute video on two of the worst movies I've ever seen? And that's because I recently watched the first Pokemon movie in Japanese and found it was actually surprisingly really good. You should watch my analysis right here because you will find yourself surprised and delighted. And so I figured, hey, maybe Digimon the movie is also a secret masterpiece. Instead, I found two of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. Oops. Well, thank you for your time anyway, friends.